To be honest, my current routine is incredibly jam-packed. Working as a nursing staff at District 6 Hospital means I often have to take on night shifts, so I sometimes find myself burning the candle at both ends. It's undeniably a grueling period when the wards are overcrowded, but helping patients recover makes all the hard work completely worth it. On a typical day, my primary focus is patient care, which involves administering medication and monitoring vital signs. The workload is intense, so by the time my shift ends, I'm usually running on fumes. Therefore, my priority is to rest and recharge my batteries for the next day. In the healthcare sector, adaptability is crucial, but personally, I strongly prefer a fixed schedule. Constantly working rotating shifts can easily push a healthcare worker to the verge of burnout. A more predictable routine offers a much-needed sense of calm and helps me stay mentally balanced. If I could alter one thing, I would certainly set aside more time for my own physical well-being. Having a brief respite to exercise would be a reliable way to stay fit and reduce the risk of cardiovascular diseases caused by occupational stress. For me, the brief quiet time after handing over my shift is undeniably the most crucial part of the day. After a grueling period at the hospital, this moment serves as a personal sanctuary. It allows me to decompress and maintain my peace of mind. My absolute favorite time is the late evening. Once the relentless hospital alarms fade away, it offers a peaceful respite from my jam-packed schedule, allowing me to fully decompress. I usually engage in low-key activities, like listening to soothing music or doing some light stretching. It's a reliable way to alleviate the physical strain accumulated from standing in the wards all day. I'm definitely at my peak in the early morning. My mind is sharpest then, which makes things easier when I have to review complex medical charts and coordinate care plans for my patients. It fluctuates depending on my hospital roster. If I'm on the morning shift, I have to drag myself out of bed by 5 a.m., but on my days off, I try to sleep in to compensate for the sleep deprivation. I typically kickstart my day with a large glass of water and a quick mindfulness exercise. Working in healthcare is emotionally taxing, so grounding myself mentally before facing the chaos is indispensable. It is exceedingly difficult, to be frank. Nursing often requires burning the candle at both ends, so my body is perpetually exhausted. However, professional duty forces me to overcome that lethargy. Absolutely, meticulous planning is second nature to me. In a hospital environment, failing to anticipate tasks can be detrimental to patient safety, so I map out my schedule down to the hour. Yes, I do. Even on my days off, I prefer having a structured itinerary. It ensures that household chores don't pile up and leaves me ample time to recharge my batteries. I usually categorize tasks by urgency using a digital app. For instance, I set aside specific time slots for grocery shopping on a tight budget, separating them from leisure activities. Having a clear plan drastically reduces decision fatigue. It provides a sense of control and peace of mind, ensuring that my time off is genuinely restorative rather than chaotic. Without a doubt, spontaneity is fun occasionally, but relying on a solid plan is the only viable way for me to juggle my demanding nursing shifts and personal life effectively. Always, whenever I handle critical medical procedures or even significant personal investments, I scrutinize every detail. Mitigating risks through careful preparation is non-negotiable for me. My planning predominantly revolves around my work roster, meal prepping to stick to a healthy budget, and ensuring I get adequate sleep to prevent chronic fatigue. I undoubtedly lean towards planning ahead. While spontaneity can be thrilling, my line of work leaves little room for error, so a well-thought-out approach gives me a profound sense of security. A balanced approach is optimal. You need a meticulous plan as a foundation, but you also must retain enough flexibility to handle unforeseen emergencies, something that happens daily in an emergency ward. Countless times. In the hospital, a sudden influx of critical patients can instantly derail a perfectly organized schedule. Learning to pivot quickly in those situations has been a harsh but valuable lesson. If I get a break during a grueling shift, I usually find a quiet corner to close my eyes for a few minutes or grab a nutritious snack. It's a brief opportunity to step away from the clinical environment. In theory, we are allotted an hour, but in reality, it rarely exceeds 20 minutes. The continuous demand for patient care means our breaks are frequently interrupted. It is absolutely paramount. Without adequate breaks, healthcare workers are prone to cognitive overload, which significantly increases the margin of error and jeopardizes patient safety. One of my most beneficial habits is strict hand hygiene and maintaining a well-balanced diet. As a nurse, safeguarding my own immune system is the first line of defense. It was instilled in me during my nursing training. Witnessing firsthand the severe consequences of infections and poor lifestyle choices in patients was a powerful catalyst for change. It is imperative. Good habits act as a prophylactic measure against both physical ailments and mental burnout, paving the way for a sustainable and fulfilling career. Beyond the obvious physical advantages like reducing the risk of obesity, they foster discipline and resilience. Over time, these routines compound to significantly enhance one's overall quality of life. Consistency is the key. People should start with micro-habits rather than attempting drastic overhauls and attach these new behaviors to existing routines to ensure long-term adherence. I don't have a specific favorite day like the weekend, but rather my scheduled day off. In the nursing roster, any day I can completely disconnect from work and recharge instantly becomes my favorite. Mondays are notoriously hectic at the hospital. The outpatient clinics are usually overflowing, and the administrative backlog from the weekend makes it an incredibly demanding day. After a taxing shift, my go-to relaxation method is taking a warm shower followed by some light reading. It effectively washes away the clinical environment and helps me transition back to my personal life. My absolute favorite hobby is reading, particularly literature related to human psychology and wellness. After a grueling shift at the hospital, immersing myself in a good book is a reliable way to decompress and recharge my batteries. It is absolutely indispensable, especially in high-stress professions like nursing. Hobbies provide a necessary respite from our daily work grind, acting as a prophylactic measure against mental burnout. Yes, they have shifted significantly. When I was younger, I used to partake in vigorous outdoor sports. However, nowadays, since my job is physically taxing, quiet indoor activities have taken the place of sports to help me stay mentally balanced. I predominantly prefer spending my free time alone. Working in an overcrowded hospital means I am constantly interacting with people, so solitude is essential for me to maintain my peace of mind and avoid sensory overload. A perfect weekend for me would entail completely disconnecting from the clinical environment. I would start with a slow morning, followed by some light yoga to reduce the risk of cardiovascular diseases caused by occupational stress, and simply enjoy a profound sense of calm. I definitely gravitate towards indoor activities. While outdoor excursions are refreshing, my daily nursing routine is already physically exhausting. Staying indoors offers a controlled, peaceful sanctuary where I can avoid the unpredictable elements and truly unwind. I have recently acquired the skill of mindful meditation. Given the hectic nature of the emergency ward, learning how to regulate my breathing has been a reliable way to mitigate stress and prevent chronic fatigue. Although ebooks have become more common because they save space and are highly portable, I strongly prefer printed books. Digital screens often lack the personal touch, whereas the tactile sensation of paper feels more real and is much more soothing to my eyes. Yes, when breath becomes air profoundly altered my perspective, it reinforced the immense value of empathy and patient care and reminded me why I chose the nursing profession despite its grueling nature. I highly doubt they will vanish entirely, though their format is undoubtedly evolving. While digital news has largely taken the place of print due to its immediacy, physical newspapers will likely remain a niche preference for those who appreciate the traditional ways of consuming information. Music has a profoundly therapeutic effect on me. It serves as an emotional anchor that helps alleviate the anxiety and physical strain accumulated after hours of monitoring patients in the hospital. I undoubtedly prefer watching movies at home. Going to the cinema can be pricey and crowded, whereas a home setup offers a comfortable environment to unwind without burning a hole in my pocket. Not at all. That is a common misconception. Many modern animations contain sophisticated humor and explore complex philosophical themes that resonate deeply with adults, offering a nostalgic yet thought-provoking experience. It is imperative to include art in education. It provides a creative outlet for students, offering a much-needed respite from the relentless academic grind and fostering emotional resilience. Absolutely. It is a highly effective cardiovascular workout that not only helps you stay fit, but also releases endorphins. It's a brilliant way to stave off chronic diseases while simultaneously elevating your mood. To be honest, as a nurse, my concept of weekends is quite fluid since I often work rotating shifts. However, on my actual days off, I prioritize restorative activities like catching up on sleep or preparing nutritious meals to ensure I am physically ready for the next grueling period at the hospital. I unequivocally prefer staying at home. The hospital environment is perpetually chaotic and noisy, so I genuinely cherish the solitude of my apartment. It is my sanctuary where I can decompress and maintain my peace of mind. The most memorable weekend recently was when I had 2 consecutive days off after a particularly taxing month. I completely disconnected from all clinical responsibilities, drove to a quiet coastal town, and just listened to the waves. It was profoundly rejuvenating. Yes, drastically. In my early 20s, before entering the healthcare field, my weekends were filled with vibrant social gatherings. Now, energy conservation is paramount, so my activities are much more low-key and solitary. If I were granted a 3-day weekend, I would undoubtedly embark on a short nature retreat. Being surrounded by greenery is scientifically proven to lower cortisol levels, which is exactly what I need to mitigate the chronic stress of nursing. Very infrequently, to be frank, the demanding nature of my shifts at District 6 Hospital leaves me running on fumes most days. Consequently, I only go out for absolute necessities, like grocery shopping, to stick to my tight budget. When I do manage to muster the energy to go out, it's usually with a few close colleagues from the hospital. We share a profound mutual understanding of the occupational pressures, so they act as a great sounding board. I gravitate towards unpretentious, quiet coffee shops tucked away in small alleys. I actively avoid crowded venues because I encounter enough chaos in the emergency room. I seek out environments that offer a respite. My go-to indoor activity is practicing mindfulness meditation and restorative yoga. It is an indispensable routine that helps alleviate the physical tension in my back from standing all day and keeps me mentally resilient. In Vietnam, particularly in urban areas, watching television dramas and playing mobile games have become ubiquitous indoor pastimes. They are widely used as accessible forms of escapism after a grueling workday. I have a soft spot for early morning brisk walking in the local park. It is a reliable cardiovascular exercise that helps stave off occupational hazards like obesity, while the fresh air provides a significant mood boost. I aim for at least 3 times a week, though it fluctuates depending on my hospital roster. Establishing a consistent routine is challenging, but I consider it non-negotiable for my long-term well-being. As a healthcare professional whose job is physically demanding and entirely indoors, I paradoxically prefer indoor activities for relaxation. The clinical environment drains me, so my apartment acts as a necessary sanctuary to recharge my batteries. I am profoundly passionate about preventative medicine and patient education. I strongly believe that equipping patients with the knowledge to manage their own health is the most effective way to alleviate the burden on our healthcare system. The catalyst was witnessing the sheer volume of patients admitted for chronic yet entirely preventable conditions. Seeing the long-term suffering caused by a lack of basic health literacy was a wake-up call that shifted my professional focus. In demanding fields like healthcare, passion is not just important, it is a prerequisite. The grueling hours and emotional toll at the hospital can easily lead to burnout, so having a genuine passion for patient care is the only way to navigate those occupational hazards sustainably. Absolutely. In the medical field, remaining stagnant is not an option because treatment protocols are perpetually evolving. I actively enjoy attending workshops to stay abreast of cutting-edge nursing practices, which ultimately improves my patient care. I am highly motivated to learn sign language. In the emergency room, we occasionally receive hearing-impaired patients, and the communication barrier can be detrimental to their treatment. Mastering this skill would help bridge the gap and provide more inclusive care. My reading habits are characterized by a stark dichotomy. On duty, I strictly consume clinical literature and pharmacology journals. However, to decompress at home, I gravitate towards fictional narratives that offer a complete escape from my daily reality. Reading is an integral part of my nightly ritual, so I do it daily. Even if I'm running on fumes after a night shift, I try to read at least a few pages to transition my brain from the chaotic hospital environment to a state of rest. My bedroom is my primary reading sanctuary. Occasionally, during a quiet night shift at the hospital, I might sneak in some reading in the staff break room, but nothing beats the comfort of my own bed for true relaxation. I exclusively read right before going to sleep. Staring at digital screens can severely disrupt my circadian rhythm due to blue light emission. Substituting my phone with a physical book is a reliable prophylactic measure against insomnia. I believe it boils down to unparalleled convenience. E-books are highly portable and satisfy the modern desire for instant gratification. A tech-savvy generation naturally prefers carrying an entire library in a single device rather than lugging around heavy paperbacks. It is more imperative now than ever. The ubiquity of short-form content on social media has severely fragmented our attention spans. Reading books cultivate deep focus and cognitive endurance, which are vital skills in any profession, especially healthcare. Children should be exposed to books that foster empathy and moral reasoning. Additionally, given my background, I strongly advocate for age-appropriate books that teach basic hygiene and human biology, establishing good health habits during their formative years. Yes, quite frequently, I follow several medical blogs authored by seasoned healthcare professionals. They provide invaluable anecdotal insights that you typically won't find in formal medical textbooks, which helps me navigate the practical aspects of nursing. I predominantly read about coping mechanisms for compassion fatigue and occupational stress. Reading about how other nurses manage the emotional toll of the job resonates deeply with me and provides a much-needed sense of solidarity. I have seriously considered it. I would love to demystify the daily operations of an emergency ward for the general public. Writing could also serve as a therapeutic outlet for me to process the intense experiences I encounter at District 6 Hospital. The most profound lesson is that the struggles I face, such as burnout and imposter syndrome, are entirely universal in the medical field. These blogs have validated my feelings and equipped me with actionable strategies to safeguard my mental health. I do, but exclusively digital ones. As a nurse, I have to stay meticulously informed about new public health legislations and disease outbreak updates. Digital newspapers provide the immediacy required to keep up with such critical developments. I primarily rely on reputable medical portals and official government websites. Working in healthcare, it is paramount that I receive verified information regarding public health policies rather than relying on the often sensationalized updates found on social media. Yes, immensely. Music acts as a powerful therapeutic tool for me. After a grueling shift at District 6 Hospital, immersing myself in soothing melodies is an indispensable way to decompress and stave off occupational burnout. I predominantly listen to music during my commute home and right before bed. Plugging in my earphones helps me drown out the city's chaotic noise and creates a much-needed personal sanctuary to recharge my batteries. I gravitate towards classical and instrumental music. Unlike upbeat genres that might overstimulate my brain, classical pieces offer a profound sense of calm, which effectively lowers my stress levels after dealing with medical emergencies all day. To be frank, I'm not particularly fond of singing. I have a rather terrible singing voice, so I prefer to be a passive listener. My demanding job leaves me running on fumes most days.
Yes, immensely. In a demanding profession where we frequently witness suffering, photography forces me to actively seek out the silver linings. Capturing fleeting moments of joy helps me maintain a mentally balanced perspective on life. I predominantly capture flora and quiet urban scenes. Whenever I find a brief respite from the jam-packed hospital wards, taking pictures of a blooming flower or a serene alleyway reminds me of the beauty outside the clinical setting. I definitely prefer my smartphone due to its unparalleled convenience. It is portable and always within reach, which makes things easier when I want to quickly capture a moment without having to carry around pricey and bulky equipment. Very infrequently, while I appreciate art, exhibitions are often overcrowded and noisy. After spending my week in a chaotic emergency room, I strongly prefer the solitude of my apartment over navigating a crowded gallery. Yes, basic drawing and crafts were mandatory in our elementary curriculum. However, they were taught in a very rudimentary manner. It wasn't until I needed a coping mechanism for my occupational stress later in life that I truly began to appreciate art. I am not a professional by any stretch, but I do enjoy light rhythmic exercises like Zumba. Since my job requires standing for hours, engaging in a fun physical activity is a reliable way to alleviate stiffness and recharge my batteries. I have a soft spot for upbeat aerobics or Zumba. The energetic music and dynamic movements are incredibly uplifting. It is an effective way to shake off the lethargy after I've been running on fumes from a night shift. Yes, I actually enrolled in a brief salsa course a few years ago. I did it primarily to force myself out of my comfort zone and to find a healthy outlet to mitigate the intense pressure of nursing school. Absolutely, it is a fantastic cardiovascular workout that helps stave off chronic conditions like obesity and diabetes. Moreover, the focus required for choreographies promotes mental agility, making it a highly beneficial holistic exercise. Yes, immensely. For someone working in a high-pressure clinical environment, traveling serves as an indispensable respite. It allows me to decompress, step away from the grueling hospital shifts, and fully recharge my batteries. Very infrequently, to be frank. My nursing roster is quite erratic, leaving me perpetually exhausted. When I do get a few days off, I usually prioritize sleep and restorative activities at home over the logistical hassle of planning a trip. My ultimate dream is to visit a secluded wellness retreat in Dalat or Supper. The crisp mountain air and tranquil surroundings would be the perfect antidote to the chaotic, sterile environment of the emergency ward. I would love to explore Japan. I deeply admire their meticulous attention to detail and clean, orderly cities. Experiencing their traditional ways of life and hot springs would be a profoundly rejuvenating experience. I gravitate towards unpretentious coastal towns rather than bustling tourist hubs. Listening to the rhythmic sound of the waves is scientifically proven to lower cortisol levels, which is exactly what I need to alleviate occupational stress. I have a soft spot for historical landmarks and nature reserves. They offer a stark contrast to modern urban life and provide a therapeutic escape that helps me maintain my mental equilibrium. Before my schedule became jam-packed with night shifts, I took a brief trip to a quiet beach in Vung Tau. It was a budget-friendly excursion that provided a much-needed sense of calm away from the hospital. It was a solo backpacking trip to the Central Highlands a few years ago. Immersing myself entirely in nature without any digital distractions was an incredibly liberating experience that completely reset my mental state. Hoi An ancient town undoubtedly tops the list. The well-preserved architecture and the absence of motorized vehicles in the old quarter create a nostalgic atmosphere that effectively makes you forget the relentless pace of city life. I intentionally avoid strenuous activities. Instead, I prioritize slow-paced exploration, such as tasting local cuisine and taking leisurely walks to ensure the trip is genuinely restorative rather than exhausting. I predominantly prefer traveling alone. My profession requires constant, high-stakes interactions with patients and doctors, so solitary travel acts as a crucial buffer to prevent sensory overload and social burnout. Absolutely, meticulous planning is second nature to me as a nurse. Anticipating potential issues and establishing a clear itinerary gives me profound peace of mind, allowing me to truly relax once the trip begins. Aside from the standard luggage, I invariably pack a comprehensive first aid kit. It is an occupational habit I simply cannot shake off, but it provides an invaluable sense of security. Rarely, I am quite careful with money and prefer to stick to a tight budget. I believe that capturing memories through photographs holds much better value than purchasing overpriced trinkets that simply gather dust. If I do make a purchase, I lean towards practical, consumable items like local teas or spices. They are usually affordable, authentic, and offer a tangible way to share the travel experience with my hospital colleagues. I suppose people buy them as physical manifestations of their joyful memories. In a fast-paced world, an exotic souvenir serves as a daily reminder of the brief respite they had from their grueling routines. Without a doubt, it is the lunar year, or Tet. It's a time for profound familial reunification. However, from a healthcare perspective, it's paradoxically our most hectic period due to a surge in traffic accidents and dietary-related emergencies. I strongly prefer spending them with my immediate family. The clinical environment drains me emotionally, so returning to the unconditional support of my family is the most reliable way to stay mentally balanced. For major festivals like Tet, the preparation is incredibly elaborate. People dedicate weeks to meticulously cleaning their homes to sweep away bad luck, and they stockpile provisions to host extensive feasts for visiting relatives. It's a beautiful preservation of traditional ways that successfully brings multiple generations together under one roof. National holidays provide a collective societal pause. They offer a much-needed break from the academic or work grind, allowing citizens to step off the treadmill of daily life and genuinely recharge their batteries. Because sickness doesn't take a day off, I am frequently assigned to work during public holidays. On the rare occasions I am off duty, I fiercely protect my free time, doing absolutely nothing to compensate for my chronic sleep deprivation. I unequivocally prefer long holidays. It usually takes me at least 2 full days just to detox from the adrenaline and stress of the emergency room. A short break simply isn't sufficient to properly stave off burnout. I firmly choose staying at home. During holidays, tourist destinations are notoriously overcrowded and overpriced. Remaining in the sanctuary of my own apartment is a far more reliable and cost-effective way to find a sense of calm. It was a recent lunar year when I was surprisingly granted 3 consecutive days off. For the first time in years, I could partake in the traditional family dinner without the looming dread of a midnight shift hanging over my head. I predominantly rely on my personal motorbike. Given my erratic nursing roster at District 6 Hospital, where I frequently rotate between day and night shifts, having a reliable and flexible means of transport is absolutely non-negotiable. I commute by motorbike. Navigating through Ho Chi Minh City's chaotic traffic before a grueling 12-hour shift is incredibly taxing, as it currently remains the most viable option to ensure I arrive punctually for the clinical handover. Seldom, while I acknowledge its environmental benefits, the current public transit system lacks the operational hours to accommodate healthcare professionals who regularly finish their shifts well past midnight. On the rare occasions my motorbike is under maintenance, I opt for ride-hailing services rather than traditional buses. It's slightly pricey, but it saves a tremendous amount of time and effort when I am running on fumes from a night shift.
The primary advantage is that it is highly cost-effective and significantly reduces an individual's carbon footprint. However, the glaring drawback in my city is its erratic scheduling and overcrowded conditions, making it impractical for time-sensitive professions. It is absolutely imperative. A robust mass transit system is a reliable way to mitigate the severe traffic congestion and air pollution that continuously contribute to the respiratory diseases we treat at the hospital daily. The local government needs to heavily subsidize the expansion of the metro network and strictly enforce dedicated bus lanes. Enhancing punctuality and spatial coverage is the only way to convince citizens to abandon their private vehicles. To be objective, it is currently in a transitional phase. While the introduction of electric buses is a commendable step forward, the overarching infrastructure remains fragmented and struggles to cope with the city's booming population. Only under extreme circumstances, such as torrential rain or when I am completely incapacitated by exhaustion after a night shift, otherwise I find them too exorbitant for daily commuting. Yes, I have a strong affinity for train journeys. Unlike the cramped and stressful environment of airplanes, trains offer a spacious, rhythmic ride that allows you to genuinely appreciate the changing landscapes.
Yes, my interview for District 6 Hospital, it was incredibly nerve-wracking as they threw highly complex clinical scenarios at me. Fortunately, I managed to keep my composure and demonstrate my practical competence. I meticulously researched the institution's core values and treatment protocols. I also conduct rigorous mock interviews with seasoned colleagues to anticipate tough questions and alleviate my pre-interview anxiety. Authenticity is paramount. Interviewers, especially in healthcare, can easily detect rehearsed answers. Projecting a genuine dedication to patient care is far more persuasive than memorizing textbook responses. I thrive in a highly collaborative and transparent environment. When handling life or death situations, having a supportive team that acts as a reliable sounding board is utterly essential. In the medical field, a toxic work culture doesn't just cause employee burnout, it directly jeopardizes patient safety. A positive environment fosters open communication, which drastically reduces clinical errors. Absolutely. Teamwork is not merely a preference, it is the backbone of modern healthcare. I find immense satisfaction in synergizing with doctors and technicians to deliver optimal patient outcomes. I work in a multidisciplinary team every single day. Resuscitating a trauma patient is a highly synchronized, adrenaline-fueled process where everyone executes their specific role flawlessly under immense pressure. The cornerstones are mutual respect and impeccable communication. In an emergency ward, egos must be set aside, and members must be able to pivot strategies instantly based on a colleague's input. It depends heavily on the task. For clinical emergencies, a cohesive team is indispensable. However, when charting medical records or updating administrative logs, I strongly prefer working in solitude to maintain meticulous accuracy. My overarching life goal is to achieve financial independence while maintaining a sustainable work-life balance. I want to build a career in healthcare that allows me to care for others without systematically destroying my own physical and mental well-being in the process. This year, I have resolved to obtain an advanced certification in emergency nursing. It is a rigorous credential that will not only enhance my clinical expertise, but also open doors for career advancement at District 6 Hospital. Acquiring this certification is imperative because the medical field is perpetually evolving. If I remain stagnant, my ability to provide optimal patient care diminishes. Achieving this goal ensures I stay at the cutting edge of nursing practices. My strategy relies on meticulous time management. I have compartmentalized my study materials into bite-sized modules so I can consistently review them during my short breaks at the hospital, thereby avoiding academic burnout. Drastically. In my early 20s, my primary ambition was rapid career progression and high salary. However, after witnessing the sheer exhaustion of seasoned healthcare workers, my focus has pivoted heavily towards longevity and maintaining my peace of mind.
Goals provide a necessary anchor in a chaotic world. Without clear objectives, especially in a demanding profession like nursing, one can easily succumb to compassion fatigue and lose a sense of purpose. In the foreseeable future, I plan to pursue a master's degree in public health. I believe transitioning from individual patient care to policymaking is a viable way to make a more profound, systemic impact on community health. My absolute favorite is pho, the traditional Vietnamese beef noodle soup. After a grueling night shift at District 6 Hospital, a hot bowl of pho is incredibly comforting and a reliable way to recharge my batteries. Yes, drastically. During my early nursing studies, I relied heavily on fast food due to my jam-packed schedule. Now, having witnessed the severe consequences of poor diets, I strictly consume wholesome foods to stave off chronic diseases. A globally renowned traditional dish in Vietnam is banh mi. It is a quintessential fusion of French baguettes and vibrant Vietnamese ingredients, creating a perfectly balanced flavor profile. Virtually every day, given my demanding roster, local traditional meals are not only readily accessible but also highly cost-effective, allowing me to stick to a tight budget. It is absolutely indispensable. Culinary traditions are tangible manifestations of a nation's history and geography. They foster a profound sense of solidarity and preserve our traditional ways across generations. Undoubtedly, amidst the relentless pace of modern urban life, enjoying a traditional family meal provides a much-needed nostalgic anchor and a brief respite from the daily grind. I unequivocally prefer traditional food. While fast food saves time, it is heavily processed. As a healthcare worker, I am acutely aware that traditional meals are far superior for mitigating cardiovascular risks. I would introduce them to goi guan, or fresh spring rolls. It is an unpretentious yet incredibly flavorful dish that beautifully showcases the freshness of Vietnamese herbs without being overly heavy. It is exceptionally healthy. It contains lean protein and an abundance of raw vegetables, making it a reliable dietary choice to prevent obesity and maintain optimal metabolic health. Paradoxically, yes, even after a tiring shift at the hospital, I find chopping vegetables in simmering broth to be a highly therapeutic outlet that helps me decompress. I do, but only on my days off. Traditional Vietnamese broths require hours of meticulous preparation. When I'm running on fumes during the weekday, I simply lack the cognitive bandwidth for such elaborate tasks. Yes, meal prepping is an integral part of my routine. It is a non-negotiable habit that ensures I consume nutritious food during my erratic hospital shifts while avoiding overpriced cafeteria meals. My go-to dish is a simple chicken and vegetable stir-fry. It is incredibly quick to whip up, highly cost-effective, and provides the necessary macronutrients to sustain me through a 12-hour shift. Without a doubt, cooking at home grants you absolute oversight over sodium and sugar intake, acting as a vital prophylactic measure against chronic ailments like diabetes. I usually engage in batch cooking twice a week. Anticipating my dietary needs in advance prevents me from resorting to unhealthy junk food when I return home completely incapacitated by exhaustion. I acquired basic culinary skills during my early university years. Moving away from my family forced me out of my comfort zone, making self-sufficiency an immediate necessity. Beyond mere recipes, cooking has instilled in me a profound sense of patience and the importance of timing. It perfectly mirrors the meticulous synchronization required when administering treatments in the ward. It is an absolute prerequisite for a sustainable lifestyle. Relying entirely on restaurants is not only financially draining, but also slowly jeopardizes your long-term cardiovascular health. I have a soft spot for cum tum, or broken rice. The smoky aroma of the grilled pork is incredibly appetizing, making it a hearty and deeply satisfying meal after a taxing day. I usually frequent small, unassuming food carts tucked away in the alleys near District 6 Hospital. They often lack the personal touch of high-end dining, but the authenticity of the flavors is unparalleled. Indisputably, it offers foreigners a highly immersive cultural experience. Furthermore, it provides exceptional good value for money, allowing tourists to sample diverse delicacies without breaking the bank.
The last time was about a month ago. A few colleagues and I went to a modest hot pot restaurant to celebrate the successful completion of an exceptionally grueling medical audit at the hospital. We shared a nourishing herbal chicken hot pot. The warm broth and the camaraderie of my peers were profoundly rejuvenating, effectively washing away the accumulated occupational stress. It is a lovely occasional treat. However, given my tight budget and health-conscious mindset, I view it as a luxury reserved for special milestones rather than a sustainable daily habit. I believe it is primarily about outsourcing the domestic labor. In our modern, fast-paced society, delegating the cooking and cleaning to professionals provides a vital respite for exhausted workers. Predominantly, I cook at home. Aside from the obvious financial benefits, maintaining a strictly controlled diet is my first line of defense against the physical toll of my demanding nursing profession. I strongly prefer the sanctuary of my own home. Hospitals are chaotic, high-sensory environments, so avoiding overcrowded restaurants is essential for me to avoid sensory overload and maintain my peace of mind. I gravitate towards quiet, secluded bistros with dim lighting. These venues offer a serene atmosphere that acts as a perfect antidote to the sterile and glaringly bright corridors of the emergency ward. I unequivocally prefer small restaurants. Large establishments tend to be excessively boisterous. I seek out intimate settings where I can actually hear my companions and truly decompress. There is a small, family-run vegetarian eatery near my apartment. The food is unpretentious and consistently reliable, offering excellent value for money without any unnecessary culinary gimmicks. I usually opt for steamed sea bass with ginger. It is a highly nutritious, protein-rich dish that I rarely have the patience to prepare at home, making it a perfectly justified indulgence. Almost exclusively with my fellow nurses, we share a profound mutual understanding of our occupational hazards, making them the perfect sounding board to vent our frustrations. I definitely prefer family. While my colleagues understand my work, my immediate family provides a grounding sense of unconditional love that truly helps me stay mentally balanced after a grueling week. Yes, it is highly beneficial. It serves as a practical simulation for them to learn social etiquette and patience in public settings, which are crucial interpersonal skills for their formative.
Yes, swimming was a mandatory part of my upbringing. My parents recognized it as a vital life skill and a highly effective way to foster physical discipline during my formative years. It is highly valued as a preventative health measure rather than a competitive pursuit. My family views consistent physical activity as an indispensable tool to mitigate the risks of chronic diseases. Absolutely, it is a proactive approach to combating the current epidemic of childhood obesity. Furthermore, team sports instill crucial soft skills like teamwork and resilience, preparing them for future adult challenges. Only once during my college years, while the collective energy was undeniable, I found the stadium to be excessively boisterous and overcrowded, which triggered a mild sense of sensory overload. Occasionally, especially during global tournaments like the Olympics, it is inspiring to witness the pinnacle of human physical achievement, and it serves as a great excuse to bond with friends over a shared interest. They are profoundly passionate about it. In Vietnam, football is practically a religion. A major victory often sparks massive, spontaneous street celebrations that beautifully showcase our national solidarity. Yes, immensely. Brisk walking is my preferred method of cardiovascular exercise. It is a low-barrier, highly accessible activity that doesn't require any pricey equipment or exorbitant gym memberships. I frequently take walks in the small, unassuming park adjacent to my apartment. The greenery offers a much-needed visual respite from the sterile, glaring white corridors of the hospital. I exclusively walk alone. My entire nursing shift revolves around catering to the needs of others. Therefore, a solitary walk acts as a personal sanctuary where I can finally decompress in silence. Beyond the obvious cardiovascular improvements, walking is a potent stress reliever. It physically distances you from your occupational stresses, allowing your brain to subconsciously process information and regain mental equilibrium. Vietnam features a tropical monsoon climate characterized by highly erratic weather patterns. In the healthcare sector, these abrupt seasonal transitions often trigger a surge in respiratory ailments at our hospital. I have a soft spot for cool, overcast days. After a grueling shift in a glaringly bright clinical setting, a gloomy, cool day offers a profound sense of calm and helps me decompress. Torrential rain severely disrupts my daily routine. Navigating Ho Chi Minh City's flooded streets before a demanding 12-hour shift leaves me running on fumes before I even clock in. I unequivocally prefer the brief transitional period at the end of the year. The crisp air provides a much-needed respite from the oppressive tropical heat, allowing me to fully recharge my batteries. I actively prioritize brisk walking in my local park. It is a highly restorative cardiovascular exercise that helps stave off occupational back stiffness caused by standing all day. Indisputably, from a medical standpoint, a lack of sunlight during prolonged rainy seasons can induce lethargy and negatively impact mental equilibrium, whereas sunny days generally foster optimism. I typically remain in the sanctuary of my apartment. I brew a cup of herbal tea and immerse myself in clinical literature, using the downtime to safely stay abreast of medical advancements. In Ho Chi Minh City, the transition from scorching heat to torrential downpours is notoriously abrupt. This volatility is a major catalyst for the seasonal flu outbreaks we constantly treat. I strongly gravitate towards muted, earthy greens. They evoke a profound sense of tranquility, offering a stark contrast to the sterile, glaring white corridors of the emergency ward. Scientifically speaking, exposure to green hues lowers cortisol levels. It acts as a visual antidote to the chronic occupational stress I endure daily at District 6 Hospital. Colors profoundly influence our psychological state. Warm tones like red can overstimulate the brain, whereas cool tones like blue foster relaxation and significantly alleviate mental fatigue. I exclusively opt for neutral palettes. My clinical work environment is incredibly chaotic and high sensory, so my home must function as a visually soothing sanctuary to prevent sensory overload. I predominantly wear understated dark colors. I spend most of my life in bright blue hospital scrubs, so donning dark athleisure during my free time feels incredibly liberating and low maintenance. I strictly adhere to a minimalist aesthetic. Clutter induces anxiety, so I prioritize open spaces and ergonomic furniture to ensure my home is a genuinely restorative environment. Integrating biophilic design, like indoor plants, is highly ubiquitous right now. It is a fantastic trend because incorporating nature indoors significantly mitigates urban stress and improves air quality. Exceedingly rarely, my erratic nursing roster leaves me with minimal cognitive bandwidth for interior design. I prefer a static, reliable setup that offers predictable comfort. My heavy blackout curtains are my most prized possession. They are an indispensable tool for blocking out daylight, allowing me to maintain my circadian rhythm when sleeping after a night shift. District 6 is a bustling, densely populated commercial hub. While it is incredibly convenient for amenities, the perpetual noise pollution can be quite detrimental to restorative sleep. I have a rather ambivalent relationship with it. I appreciate the close proximity to my hospital, but the relentless gridlock often exacerbates my exhaustion after a grueling shift. The sheer abundance of unpretentious street food vendors is its greatest asset. It allows me to quickly procure affordable meals when I'm running on fumes and too drained to cook. Unfortunately, no. The severe lack of green spaces and the ubiquitous traffic hazards make it an unsuitable environment for fostering healthy physical development in children. The local authorities must strictly enforce noise curfews and invest in expanding public parks. These interventions are imperative to mitigate the chronic stress affecting the residents' mental well-being. I actively abhor them. My daily routine involves navigating overcrowded hospital wards, so subjecting myself to massive crowds during my free time is a guaranteed recipe for sensory overload. The only crowded venues I frequent are major supermarkets during my weekly grocery runs. It is an unavoidable chore necessary for meal prepping to sustain my rigorous diet. I instantly feel profoundly overwhelmed. The cacophony of voices and lack of personal space drain my already depleted energy reserves, making me desperate to retreat to my sanctuary. From an epidemiological perspective, crowded places are breeding grounds for airborne pathogens. Furthermore, the risk of stampedes poses a severe threat of traumatic injuries. I unequivocally prefer quiet places. Solitude is the only reliable antidote to the chaotic, high-pressure clinical environment, allowing me to regain my psychological equilibrium. Yes, I once had to administer emergency CPR to a stranger who collapsed at a crowded festival. It was a terrifyingly chaotic scenario, but my medical training instinctively took over. The Botanical Garden is undoubtedly my favorite spot. It offers a pristine green refuge right in the heart of the concrete jungle, serving as a perfect location to decompress. I try to visit at least once a month, provided my erratic roster permits it. It is a non-negotiable ritual to stave off occupational burnout and maintain my peace of mind. People predominantly engage in communal exercises like Tai Chi or simply socialize over coffee. It's a fantastic way for the elderly to maintain mobility and foster community solidarity. Bin Tai Market in District 6 is historically significant. Its intricate architecture and vibrant trading atmosphere offer a highly immersive glimpse into the local commercial culture. It is renowned for its unique fusion of French and Chinese architectural styles. Beyond its aesthetic appeal, it remains the vital economic backbone for thousands of local merchants. It attracts a moderate influx of tourists, but it remains predominantly a wholesale hub for locals. This ensures the market retains its raw authenticity without becoming an overpriced tourist trap. Dalat remains my absolute favorite destination. The crisp, unpolluted air and tranquil pine forests provided an unparalleled therapeutic escape from my grueling hospital shifts. I first embarked on a trip there immediately after passing my nursing licensure exams. It was a well-deserved reward to detox from the immense academic pressure I had endured. I prefer going with a single close colleague. We share a mutual understanding of our professional exhaustion, making them the perfect undemanding companion for a restorative retreat. I once volunteered at an organic farm during a medical outreach program. It was physically demanding, but incredibly enlightening to witness sustainable agricultural practices firsthand. You typically encounter vast expanses of meticulously cultivated crops and various livestock. It's a stark contrast to the sterile, highly digitized environment of modern urban hospitals. The direct access to unadulterated, pesticide-free produce is highly appealing. Consuming whole foods straight from the source is the cornerstone of preventative cardiovascular health. The rigorous manual labor,
Face-to-face communication, which I believe still plays an essential role in modern life. Although online communication has become extremely common, direct interaction remains important in many personal and professional situations. First and foremost, face-to-face communication is more personal and effective. This is mainly because people can observe facial expressions, tone of voice, and body language, which makes the message warmer and clearer. For example, when we talk to a close friend in person, we can understand not only their words, but also their emotions. Secondly, it helps reduce miscommunication. Text messages can easily be misunderstood because they lack tone and emotional context. In contrast, when people communicate face-to-face, they can ask questions immediately and clarify confusing points. Finally, face-to-face communication builds stronger relationships. Meeting someone in person creates trust and emotional connection, especially in families, friendships, and workplaces.
Apart from that, it also helps people develop social skills, which are very important for young people today. In conclusion, I strongly believe that face-to-face communication is still valuable because it makes conversations more personal, reduces misunderstandings, and strengthens relationships. Yes, I think face-to-face communication is usually more effective, especially for serious or emotional conversations. The main reason is that people can understand facial expressions and tone of voice more clearly. However, online communication is still useful when people live far away. Technology has made communication faster and more convenient. People can now send messages, make video calls, and share information instantly. However, it has also reduced real-life interaction, which may weaken social skills over time. In what situations is face-to-face communication necessary? Face-to-face communication is necessary in job interviews, important meetings, family discussions, and conflict resolution. In these situations, people need trust, emotional understanding, and immediate feedback. The causes of work-related stress, which is a common problem in modern society. Many employees today feel mentally exhausted because their jobs are becoming more demanding and competitive. First and foremost, heavy workload is one of the main causes of stress at work. When employees have too many tasks and tight deadlines, they may feel overwhelmed and unable to perform well. This can lead to burnout, especially if they have to work overtime frequently. Secondly, workplace conflicts can also create a lot of pressure. If employees have poor relationships with colleagues or managers, they may feel uncomfortable and unmotivated at work. In the long run, this can reduce both productivity and job satisfaction. Finally, job insecurity is another serious factor. When people are afraid of losing their jobs, they may feel anxious even when they are working hard. Apart from these points, poor work-life balance can make the situation worse because employees do not have enough time to rest and recover. In conclusion, I believe work-related stress is mainly caused by heavy workload, workplace conflicts, job insecurity, and a lack of balance between work and personal life. Companies can reduce stress by offering reasonable workloads, clear communication, and emotional support. They should also create a positive working environment where employees feel respected and valued. It depends. Remote working can reduce stress because employees save commuting time and have more flexibility. However, it may increase stress if people cannot separate work from personal life. Individuals should manage their time carefully, take short breaks, exercise regularly, and talk to someone they trust. More importantly, they should set boundaries and avoid working all the time. Tourism, which has become an important part of modern life. In my opinion, tourism brings many benefits, but people should also travel responsibly. First and foremost, traveling gives people a chance to relax and broaden their horizons. When tourists visit new places, they can learn about different cultures, traditions, and lifestyles. This can make them more open-minded and confident. Secondly, green tourism is becoming increasingly important. This means tourists should protect the environment by reducing plastic waste, respecting local culture, and choosing eco-friendly services. If tourism is not managed properly, it can damage natural attractions and local communities. Thirdly, tourism benefits tourists in both personal and educational ways. They can gain new experiences, improve communication skills, and create memorable moments with family or friends. Besides that, people who travel abroad should prepare carefully by checking their passport, visa, accommodation, local laws, and basic cultural rules. In conclusion, I believe tourism is beneficial because it helps people relax, learn new things, and understand the world better, but it should be done in a responsible and sustainable way. I prefer traveling with a group because it feels safer and more enjoyable. I can share experiences with others and get help if problems happen. However, solo travel is better for people who want independence. People can travel in an eco-friendly way by using public transport, avoiding single-use plastic, respecting wildlife, and choosing local services. These small actions can reduce the negative impact of tourism. I think the most important thing to prepare before traveling abroad is travel documents, especially a passport and visa. Without them, people cannot enter another country. It is also important to prepare money, insurance, and basic knowledge about the destination. Obesity, which is becoming a serious health issue in many countries, it affects not only appearance but also physical health and quality of life. First and foremost, obesity can lead to many health risks. People who are overweight may have a higher risk of diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, and joint problems. In the long run, these health issues can reduce life expectancy and increase medical costs. Secondly, obesity is often caused by unhealthy lifestyles. Many people eat too much fast food, drink sugary beverages, and spend long hours sitting in front of screens. This sedentary lifestyle makes it easy to gain weight. Thirdly, there are several solutions to obesity. People should follow a balanced diet, exercise regularly, and control their portion sizes. Apart from that, families and schools should support healthy habits by providing nutritious meals and encouraging physical activities. In conclusion, I strongly believe obesity should be taken seriously because it creates many health risks, but it can be prevented through better lifestyle choices and social support. Obesity is becoming more common because people eat more processed food and do less physical activity. Many people also spend too much time using phones or computers, which leads to a sedentary lifestyle. Yes, I think schools should limit or ban junk food because children are still developing eating habits. If schools provide healthier meals, students may become more aware of nutrition. Individuals should eat a balanced diet, exercise regularly, sleep enough, and avoid sugary drinks. They should also build long-term habits instead of following extreme diets. The benefits of learning English for young people. In the modern world, English is not just a school subject, but also an important tool for study, work, and communication. First and foremost, English can create better job opportunities. Many companies prefer candidates who can use English because they may need to work with foreign customers, international documents, or global partners. Therefore, English can improve young people's career prospects. Secondly, English gives young people access to global knowledge. A large amount of information on the internet, academic journals, online courses, and professional materials is written in English. This means that students who know English can learn more independently and effectively. Thirdly, English improves communication skills. Young people can make friends from other countries, travel more easily, and express their ideas in international environments. Apart from that, learning English can also boost their confidence because they feel more prepared for future opportunities. In conclusion, I strongly believe that English is highly beneficial for young people because it supports their education, career development, communication, and confidence. English is important because it helps young people study better, find better jobs, and communicate with people from different countries. It also gives them access to global information. Yes, I think they should start early because children usually learn pronunciation and basic communication more naturally. However, the learning process should be fun and age-appropriate. I think Chinese, Japanese, and Korean are useful because these countries have strong economies and cultural influence in Asia. Learning these languages can create more study and job opportunities. Job satisfaction, which is extremely important for employees' happiness and long-term performance. People may earn money from a job, but they also need motivation and a positive working experience. First and foremost, salary and benefits play an important role in job satisfaction. Employees need a fair income to cover living expenses and feel financially secure. If they are underpaid, they may lose motivation even if they enjoy the work. Secondly,
The influence of parents on children, which is extremely important in a child's development.
Parents are usually the first teachers in a child's life, so their words and actions can shape children deeply. First and foremost, parents strongly influence children's behavior. Children often learn by observing how their parents speak, react, and solve problems. For example, if parents are polite and responsible, children are more likely to develop similar habits. Secondly, parents affect children's social relationships. They can teach children how to respect others, share, apologize, and communicate properly. These social skills are useful when children make friends or work with others at school. Thirdly, parents influence children's attitude toward life and learning. If parents encourage effort and patience, children may become more confident and resilient. Apart from that, parents also pass on important life values such as honesty, kindness, and responsibility. In conclusion, I strongly believe that parents play a powerful role in shaping children's behavior, relationships, attitudes, and personal values. Do you think parents should control their children's friendships? Why or why not? I think parents should guide rather than fully control their children's friendships. They should protect children from negative influences, but they also need to respect their children's social development. How can parents help their children develop confidence? Parents can help by encouraging children, praising their effort, and allowing them to make small decisions. When children feel trusted and supported, they become more confident. Do you think modern parents influence their children differently compared to past generations? Yes, modern parents may be more open-minded and communicative. In the past, many parents were stricter, while today, parents often try to understand children's emotions and personal interests. Hiring a housemaid, which has become more common in busy modern families. Although it may cost money, it can bring several practical benefits. First and foremost, hiring a housemaid can save time and reduce stress. Many people are busy with work, study, and family responsibilities, so they may not have enough time to do housework. A housemaid can help with cleaning, cooking, and other daily tasks. Secondly, it can improve household management. When the home is clean and organized, family members may feel more comfortable and relaxed. This can create a better living environment, especially for families with children. Thirdly, housemaids can provide valuable help for the elderly and busy families. For example, they can support older people with daily activities or help parents take care of children. Apart from that, hiring a housemaid can also improve work-life balance because family members have more time to rest and spend together. In conclusion, I believe hiring a housemaid can be beneficial because it saves time, reduces stress, improves household management, and supports family life. What are the disadvantages of hiring a housemaid? The main disadvantages are cost, privacy concerns, and possible trust issues. Some families may also find it difficult to communicate clearly with housemaids about expectations. Do you think it is better to hire a full-time or part-time housemaid? Why? I think a part-time housemaid is more better for most families because it is more affordable and flexible. However, families with elderly people or young children may need a full-time housemaid. How can employers ensure a good working relationship with housemaids? Employers should communicate clearly, treat housemaids respectfully, and agree on duties and salary from the beginning. Mutual respect is the key to a good working relationship. Improving communication skills at work, which is essential for professional success. Good communication helps employees cooperate better, avoid mistakes, and build stronger working relationships. First and foremost, active listening is very important. Employees should not only hear words, but also understand the speaker's intention. When people listen carefully, they can respond more appropriately and avoid unnecessary misunderstandings. Secondly, clear and concise speaking is necessary in the workplace. People should express their ideas in a direct and organized way, especially in meetings, presentations, or teamwork. This helps save time and makes cooperation more efficient. Thirdly, body language and non-verbal cues also matter. Eye contact, facial expressions, and posture can show confidence, respect, and interest. Apart from that, giving constructive feedback is also important because it helps colleagues improve without feeling attacked. In conclusion, I believe communication skills at work can be improved through active listening, clear speaking, positive body language, and respectful feedback. Why do some people find it difficult to communicate at work? Some people lack confidence or are afraid of making mistakes. Others may struggle because of workplace pressure, unclear ideas, or poor relationships with colleagues. Do you think technology has improved workplace communication? Yes, technology has made workplace communication faster and more convenient. However, too many messages and online meetings can sometimes cause distraction and misunderstanding. What are the disadvantages of poor communication at work? Poor communication can lead to mistakes, conflicts, low productivity, and weak teamwork. It may also make employees feel confused or demotivated. The impact of the Internet, especially its negative effects in modern life. The Internet is extremely useful, but it can also create serious problems if people use it carelessly. First and foremost, the Internet can cause information overload. People are exposed to too much information every day, including news, advertisements, videos, and social media posts. As a result, they may find it difficult to concentrate or identify reliable information. Secondly, privacy and security issues are major concerns. Personal information can be stolen or misused if people do not protect their online accounts. This can lead to financial loss, identity theft, or emotional stress. Thirdly, the Internet can create social pressure. Many people compare their lives with others on social media and feel unhappy or insecure. Apart from that, Internet addiction is also a serious problem because some people spend too many hours online and neglect their study, work, or relationships. In conclusion, I believe the Internet has many benefits, but its negative effects include information overload, privacy risks, social pressure, and addiction. Do you think the Internet does more harm than good? Why? I do not think the Internet does more harm than good. It provides knowledge, communication, and convenience. However, people need to use it responsibly to avoid addiction, misinformation, and privacy problems. How can people protect their privacy online? People can use strong passwords, avoid sharing sensitive information, update security settings, and be careful with unknown links. They should also think carefully before posting personal details online. What advice would you give to someone who spends too much time on the Internet? I would advise them to set screen time limits and replace online activities with healthier habits, such as exercising, reading, or meeting friends. They should also turn off unnecessary notifications. Why recycling is beneficial, especially in a world where waste is increasing rapidly. Recycling is not only good for the environment, but also useful for the economy and society. First and foremost, recycling helps protect the environment. When people recycle paper, plastic, glass, and metal, less waste is sent to landfills. This can reduce pollution and help keep cities cleaner. Secondly, recycling can create jobs in recycling factories. These jobs include collecting, sorting, processing, and transporting recyclable materials. As a result, recycling can support local employment and contribute to the economy. Thirdly, recycling reduces waste and saves natural resources. For example, recycling paper can reduce the need to cut down trees, while recycling metal can reduce the demand for mining.
Apart from that, recycling also raises environmental awareness because it encourages people to think about their daily consumption habits. In conclusion, I strongly believe recycling is beneficial because it protects the environment, creates jobs, saves resources, and encourages people to live more responsibly. What are some common recycled materials? Common recycled materials include paper, plastic bottles, glass, metal cans, cardboard, and electronic waste. These materials can be processed and used again in different ways. Do you think recycling should be mandatory? Why or why not? Yes, I think it should be mandatory in some places because voluntary action may not be enough. However, the government should also provide clear instructions and convenient recycling facilities.
The disadvantages of self-employment. Although being self-employed gives people freedom, it also comes with many risks and responsibilities. First and foremost, self-employment often lacks stability. People who work for themselves may not have a fixed monthly income because their earnings depend on customers, projects, or market conditions. This can make long-term planning more difficult. Secondly, financial difficulties are a major challenge. Self-employed people may need to invest their own money in equipment, advertising, rent, or business development. If the business does not perform well, they may face serious financial pressure. Thirdly, self-employed people usually do not receive employee benefits. Unlike company workers, they may not have paid leave, health insurance, or retirement support from an employer. Apart from that, they often face high pressure and time management issues because they have to handle everything by themselves. In conclusion, I believe self-employment can be attractive, but its disadvantages include instability, financial pressure, lack of benefits, and heavy personal responsibility. Do you think self-employment will become more popular in the future? Why or why not? Yes, I think it may become more popular because technology allows people to work independently and sell services online. However, not everyone is ready for the risks of self-employment. What skills are necessary to succeed as a self-employed person? Self-employed people need time management, communication, financial planning, problem-solving, and self-discipline. They also need resilience because business results can be unpredictable. Do you think it is better to be self-employed or to work for a company? It depends on the person. Self-employment is suitable for people who want freedom and can handle risk. Working for a company is better for those who prefer stability and clear benefits. The idea that failure is the key to success. In my opinion, failure is painful, but it can teach people important lessons that success alone cannot provide. First and foremost, failure helps people learn from mistakes. When people fail, they can identify what went wrong and improve their methods. For example, a student who fails an exam may realize that they need better study strategies or stronger time management. Secondly, failure builds resilience. People who experience failure and keep trying become mentally stronger. They learn not to give up easily when facing difficulties in study, work, or life. Thirdly, failure can inspire innovation. Many successful inventions and businesses were created after repeated failures. Apart from that, failure can also develop humility because it reminds people that improvement requires patience and effort. In conclusion, I strongly believe failure can lead to success because it teaches lessons, builds resilience, encourages innovation, and helps people grow personally. Do you think failure is necessary for success? Why or why not? Yes, I think failure is often necessary because it teaches people what does not work. However, people must reflect on their mistakes and try again, otherwise failure alone will not lead to success. Can failure make people give up instead of trying harder? Yes, it can, especially if people lack support or confidence. Some people may feel discouraged after failure. That is why encouragement from family, teachers, or friends is very important.
What advice would you give someone who is afraid of failure? I would tell them to see failure as feedback rather than the end of everything. They should start with small goals, learn from each mistake, and keep improving step by step. The benefits of effective communication. Communication is essential because it affects how people build relationships, work with others, and express themselves. First and foremost, effective communication helps build strong relationships. When people can express their thoughts clearly and listen actively, they understand each other better. This creates trust and emotional connection in families, friendships, and workplaces. Secondly, good communication can enhance career opportunities. In many jobs, employees need to present ideas, discuss problems, and cooperate with colleagues. People who communicate well often perform better in interviews, meetings, and leadership roles. Thirdly, effective communication helps resolve conflicts. Many conflicts happen because people misunderstand each other or fail to explain their feelings properly. Apart from that, good communication can boost self-confidence because people feel more comfortable expressing their opinions. In conclusion, I strongly believe effective communication is beneficial because it strengthens relationships, supports career success, solves conflicts, and improves confidence. Do you think communication skills are more important in personal life or professional life? Why? I think communication skills are important in both. In personal life, they help maintain relationships. In professional life, they help people work effectively and avoid mistakes. How can people improve their communication skills? People can improve by practicing active listening, speaking clearly, observing body language, and asking for feedback. They should also learn to control their emotions during difficult conversations. What are the challenges of communication in modern society? The biggest challenges are digital distraction, lack of face-to-face interaction, and misunderstanding through text messages. People may also listen less carefully because life has become too fast-paced. Why eating out is becoming more popular. In modern life, many people are busy, so restaurants and cafes have become a common part of daily routines. First and foremost, eating out is convenient and time-saving. People don't need to shop for ingredients, cook meals, or clean up afterwards. This is especially useful for students, office workers, and busy families. Secondly, eating out offers more variety and enjoyment. Restaurants provide different cuisines, such as Vietnamese, Korean, Thai, and Western food. As a result, people can try new dishes and have a more enjoyable dining experience. Thirdly, eating out supports social and family bonding. Friends and family members can gather, talk, and celebrate special occasions in a comfortable environment. Apart from that, eating out also boosts local businesses because restaurants create jobs and support the local economy. In conclusion, I believe eating out is popular because it saves time, offers variety, strengthens social bonds, and supports local businesses. Do you prefer eating out or cooking at home? Why? I prefer eating at home most of the time because it is healthier and more cost-effective. However, I enjoy eating out occasionally when I want to relax or celebrate something special. What are some disadvantages of eating out too often? Eating out too often can be expensive and unhealthy. Restaurant food may contain more oil, salt, or sugar. It can also make people depend less on home cooking. How has eating out changed in recent years? Eating out has become more convenient because of food delivery apps and online reviews. People now have more choices, and many restaurants focus on atmosphere and social media-friendly presentation. The benefits of artificial intelligence for students. AI is becoming increasingly common in education, and if used responsibly, it can support learning in many useful ways. First and foremost, AI can provide personalized learning. Different students have different strengths and weaknesses, and AI tools can suggest materials based on each learner's level. This helps students study more effectively at their own pace. Secondly, AI gives students instant access to information. Instead of spending a long time searching through many sources, students can use AI to get explanations, examples, or summaries quickly. This can be especially helpful when they are preparing for exams or doing assignments. Thirdly, AI can enhance study efficiency. It can help students organize ideas, check grammar, practice languages, and review lessons. Apart from that, AI can also develop technological skills, which are increasingly important in the modern workplace. In conclusion, I believe AI benefits students by supporting personalized learning, providing quick information, improving study efficiency, and preparing them for a technology-driven future. Do you think AI will replace teachers in the future? Why or why not? No, I don't think AI will fully replace teachers. AI can support practice and give information, but teachers give emotional support, motivation, and human guidance. These qualities are difficult to replace. What are some drawbacks of using AI in education? Students may become too dependent on AI and stop thinking critically. AI can give inaccurate information, so students need to check sources and use it responsibly. How can students use AI responsibly in their studies? Students should use AI as a learning assistant, not as a tool to copy answers. They should ask for explanations, compare information with reliable sources, and write their own final work. The causes of childhood obesity, which has become a growing concern in many countries. Children's weight problems are often connected to lifestyle, family habits, and modern technology. First and foremost,
The benefits of doing exercise. In my opinion, regular exercise is one of the most effective ways to improve both physical and mental well-being. First and foremost, exercise improves physical health. It helps people maintain a healthy weight, strengthen muscles, improve heart health, and reduce the risk of diseases. Even simple activities like walking or swimming can make a big difference over time. Secondly, exercise can reduce stress and improve mental health. When people exercise, their body releases positive chemicals that help them feel happier and more relaxed. This is especially useful for students or workers who often feel stressed. Thirdly, exercise can improve social connection. Team sports, fitness classes, or running groups allow people to meet others and build friendships. Apart from that, regular exercise can increase self-discipline and time management because people need to follow a routine. In conclusion, I strongly believe that exercise is beneficial because it improves health, reduces stress, builds relationships, and develops discipline. What can schools do to encourage students to exercise more? Schools can organize more sports clubs, make PE lessons more enjoyable, and provide better sports facilities. They can also hold competitions or outdoor events to motivate students. Why do some people prefer to exercise at home instead of going to the gym? Some people prefer exercising at home because it saves money and time. They may also feel more comfortable and less embarrassed when exercising in private. What are the differences between individual exercise and team sports? Individual exercise gives people more flexibility and independence, while team sports develop cooperation and communication. Both are useful, depending on a person's goals and personality. The important role of teachers in students' education. Even though technology is developing quickly, teachers are still essential for learning and personal development. First and foremost, teachers provide guidance and motivation. They do not only explain lessons, but also help students set goals, overcome difficulties, and believe in their abilities. A good teacher can inspire students to study harder and become more confident. Secondly, teachers can adapt to students' needs. Different students have different learning styles, strengths, and weaknesses.
Teachers can adjust their methods, give extra explanations, and support students who are struggling. Thirdly, teachers create a positive learning environment. When students feel respected and encouraged, they are more willing to participate and express their ideas. Apart from that, technology cannot fully replace human connection because students still need empathy, encouragement, and emotional support. In conclusion, I strongly believe teachers play a crucial role because they guide, motivate, support, and connect with students in ways that technology cannot. Do you think technology can replace teachers in the future? Why or why not? No, I do not think technology can fully replace teachers. Technology can provide information and practice, but teachers give emotional support, motivation, and personal guidance. Who do you think influences students more, teachers or parents? Why? I think both influence students in different ways. Parents shape children's values and behavior at home, while teachers influence their learning habits, knowledge, and academic confidence. How can schools improve the quality of teaching in the future? Schools can improve teaching quality by training teachers regularly, reducing class sizes, using technology wisely, and listening to students' feedback. They should also support teachers' well-being. The benefits of learning a new language. In a globalized world, knowing another language can support both personal growth and professional success. First and foremost, learning a new language helps people explore new cultures. Language reflects traditions, values, humor, and ways of thinking. When people learn a language, they can understand other cultures more deeply instead of just looking at them from the outside. Secondly, language learning improves communication. It allows people to talk to foreigners, make international friends, and express ideas in more than one language. This is useful for travel, study, and daily interaction. Thirdly, a new language can open up job opportunities. Many employers prefer candidates who can work with international customers, partners, or documents. Apart from that, learning a language can boost brain function by improving memory, concentration, and flexible thinking. In conclusion, I strongly believe learning a new language is beneficial because it develops cultural understanding, communication, career opportunities, and cognitive ability. Do you learn English? Why or why not? Yes, I learn English because it is useful for study, work, and communication. It also gives me access to global knowledge and helps me feel more confident in international situations. What difficulties do you face when studying English? The main difficulties are pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, and speaking fluently. Sometimes I understand English, but I still find it hard to express ideas naturally. Do you think children should start learning foreign languages early? Why or why not? Yes, I think children should start early because they can learn pronunciation and basic communication more naturally. However, the lessons should be fun and suitable for their age. Why do people often feel stressed at work? Work-related stress is becoming more common because modern jobs are demanding and competitive. First and foremost, heavy workload is one of the main reasons. When employees have too many tasks, tight deadlines, and constant pressure, they may feel overwhelmed. If this continues for a long time, it can lead to burnout. Secondly, lack of work-life balance also causes stress. Many people spend too much time working and do not have enough time for family, hobbies, exercise, or rest. As a result, they may feel physically tired and emotionally drained. Thirdly, poor communication or pressure from managers can make stress worse. Employees may feel anxious if instructions are unclear or if managers are too demanding. Apart from that, unclear goals and job insecurity can create long-term worry. In conclusion, I believe people feel stressed at work because of heavy workload, poor work-life balance, weak communication, pressure from managers, and uncertainty about their jobs. What are the best ways to reduce stress at work? People can reduce stress by managing their time, taking short breaks, communicating clearly, and setting boundaries. Companies should also provide reasonable workloads and emotional support. Do you think working from home helps reduce stress? Why or why not? It depends. Working from home can reduce commuting stress and provide flexibility. However, it can also increase stress if people cannot separate work from personal life. Why do eating out have become more common and what benefits it brings? In modern life, many people are busy, so restaurants and cafes have become a convenient part of daily routines. First and foremost, eating out is convenient. People do not have to buy ingredients, cook meals, or clean up afterwards. This is especially useful for busy workers, students, and families who do not have much free time. Secondly, eating out supports social bonding. Friends, colleagues, and family members can gather, talk, and relax in a comfortable environment. It is also a popular way to celebrate birthdays, meetings, or special occasions. Thirdly, eating out offers a wide variety of choices. People can try different cuisines such as Vietnamese, Thai, Korean, Japanese, or Western food. Eating out can create special experiences because restaurants often provide good service, decoration, and atmosphere. In conclusion, I believe eating out is popular because it is convenient, strengthens social relationships, provides variety, and creates enjoyable experiences. Do you prefer eating out or eating at home? Why? I prefer eating at home most of the time because it is healthier and more affordable. However, I enjoy eating out occasionally when I want to relax or celebrate something. Why do people spend more money on eating out nowadays? People spend more money on eating out because they are busier and want convenience. Social media, food delivery apps, and restaurant trends also make eating out more attractive. Should schools teach students how to cook? Why or why not? Yes, schools should teach students basic cooking skills because cooking helps them become more independent and eat more healthily. It's a practical life skill. The disadvantages of running your own business. Although many people dream of being their own boss, entrepreneurship can be stressful and risky. First and foremost,
Why preschool education should be mandatory? Early childhood education plays an important role in children's development before they enter primary school. First and foremost, preschool helps children develop social skills. Children learn how to share toys, follow rules, communicate with classmates, and respect teachers. These skills are important because young children need to learn how to behave in a group. Secondly, preschool prepares children for primary school. They can become familiar with basic learning routines such as listening to instructions, sitting in class, recognizing letters, counting numbers, and completing simple tasks. This makes the transition to grade 1 smoother. Thirdly, preschool supports working parents. Many parents have full-time jobs, so preschool provides a safe and structured place for children during the day. Apart from that, preschool teachers can help identify learning difficulties early, which allows families to support children before problems become serious. In conclusion, I believe preschool education should be mandatory because it develops social skills, prepares children for school, supports parents, and helps detect early learning problems. At what age do you think children should start preschool? I think children can start preschool at around 3 years old. At this age, they are ready to interact with others and learn basic routines, but the activities should still be playful and gentle.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of sending children to preschool early? The advantage is that children can develop social skills and independence earlier. The disadvantage is that some children may feel stressed or emotionally unready if they are sent too early. How is early childhood education different now compared to the past? Nowadays, early childhood education is more child-centered and interactive. In the past, it was often more about discipline, but now schools focus more on play, creativity, emotions, and communication. How left-handed and right-handed children may use different parts of their brain. This is interesting because it reminds us that children may learn and think in different ways. First and foremost, right-handed children are often associated with stronger use of the left brain, which is linked to logic and language. This may help explain why some children are stronger at structured tasks such as reading, writing, or solving step-by-step problems. Secondly, left-handed children are often associated with stronger use of the right brain, which is linked to creativity and art. They may show strengths in imagination, visual thinking, music, or artistic activities. However, we should avoid judging children only based on handedness because every child is different. Thirdly, teaching methods should match different learning styles. Teachers should use a variety of activities, including logical exercises, creative tasks, visual materials, and practical projects. Apart from that, schools should support both left-handed and right-handed children equally by providing suitable desks, tools, and encouragement. In conclusion, I believe schools should recognize learning differences and create an inclusive environment where all children can develop their strengths. Do you think left-handed children should be taught differently? Not completely differently, but they should receive suitable support. For example, teachers should not force them to write with the right hand, and schools should provide comfortable writing tools or seating arrangements. How can teachers support students with different learning styles? Teachers can use mixed methods such as visual aids, discussion, practice, games, and individual feedback. This helps different students understand lessons in ways that suit them. What are the challenges of being left-handed in school or daily life? Left-handed children may find some desks, scissors, or writing positions uncomfortable. They may also feel different if teachers or classmates do not understand their needs. The disadvantages of apartment living. Although apartments are convenient and popular in big cities, they also have several limitations. First and foremost, apartments often have limited living space. Compared to houses, apartments usually have smaller rooms and less storage. This can be uncomfortable for large families or people who own many belongings. Secondly, residents may have problems with noisy or unfriendly neighbors. Since many families live close to each other, noise from upstairs, next door, or shared areas can easily affect daily life. If neighbors are not respectful, conflicts may happen. Thirdly, many apartments have pet restrictions. Some buildings do not allow pets, while others limit the size or number of animals. This can be inconvenient for people who love cats or dogs. Apart from that, apartments often lack outdoor space, so residents may not have gardens, yards, or private areas for relaxation. In conclusion, I believe apartment living can be disadvantageous because of limited space, neighbor problems, pet restrictions, and lack of private outdoor areas. What are some advantages of living in an apartment? Apartments can be convenient, secure, and easier to maintain than houses. Many apartment buildings also have facilities such as elevators, parking areas, gyms, or swimming pools. Would you prefer to live in an apartment or a house? Why? I would prefer an apartment if I lived in a big city because it is convenient and safe. However, in the long run, I would prefer a house because it offers more space and privacy. How can apartment buildings improve the quality of life for residents? They can improve by providing better soundproofing, clean shared spaces, green areas, security, and clear rules for residents. Good management is also very important. Different ways to lose weight. In my opinion, losing weight should be done in a healthy and sustainable way instead of using extreme methods. First and foremost, regular exercise is very important. Activities such as walking, jogging, swimming, or cycling can help people burn calories and improve physical fitness. Exercise also supports heart health and mental well-being. Secondly, people should follow a healthy diet. This means eating more vegetables, fruits, lean protein, and balanced meals while reducing fried food and processed food. A healthy diet is often more effective than simply eating less. Thirdly, getting enough sleep and reducing stress also matter. Lack of sleep and high stress can affect appetite and make it harder to control weight. Apart from that, people should avoid sugary drinks and fast food because these foods contain many hidden calories. In conclusion, I believe people can lose weight effectively by exercising regularly, eating healthily, sleeping well, reducing stress, and avoiding unhealthy food. Why do people often find it hard to lose weight? People find it hard because they lack motivation, have busy schedules, or follow unhealthy eating habits. Some people also expect quick results and give up too early. Do you think schools should teach students about healthy living? Yes, schools should teach healthy living because students need to build good habits early. Lessons about nutrition, exercise, sleep, and mental health can help prevent future health problems. Just as an AI model doesn't have personal experiences, some people may not have experience with housemaids. However, we can still explore the benefits of hiring housemaids because they play a practical role in many families. First and foremost, hiring a housemaid gives family members more relaxing time. After a long day of work or study, people may not have enough energy to clean, cook, or do laundry. A housemaid can reduce this pressure and allow them to rest. Secondly, hiring a housemaid can improve people's social life. When family members spend less time on household chores, they have more time to meet friends, join activities, or enjoy hobbies. This can improve their mental well-being. Thirdly, a housemaid helps keep the home tidier. A clean and organized home creates a more comfortable living environment. Apart from that, housemaids can support elderly people or working parents by helping with daily routines, childcare, or simple household tasks. In conclusion, I believe hiring housemaids can benefit families by saving time, reducing stress, improving social life, keeping homes tidy, and supporting people who need extra help. What should people consider before hiring a housemaid? They should consider cost, trustworthiness, experience, duties, working hours, and privacy. They should also communicate clearly about expectations from the beginning. Do you think more women work as housemaids?
In this situation, I need to choose the best location for a movie night, and the three options are my living room, a movie theatre, and a cafe. A movie theatre can be a great option because it provides a large screen, professional sound quality, and a more exciting atmosphere. However, it can be quite expensive, especially if many people join. A cafe is also worth considering because it offers a relaxing environment, but it may be noisy and not really suitable for watching a full movie. From my perspective, I would choose my living room as the best location.
The main reason is that it is much more comfortable and convenient, as everyone can sit freely, talk naturally, and enjoy snacks without worrying about disturbing other people. In addition, it is more cost-effective because we do not have to pay for tickets or expensive drinks. Overall, I believe the living room is the most practical choice because it creates a cozy and private atmosphere for a movie night. In this situation, I want to learn a new skill to improve my work performance, and the three possible options are taking a course, joining a local group, and attending a workshop. Joining a local group can be useful because it allows me to meet people with similar interests and learn from real experience. However, the learning process may not be very systematic. Attending a workshop is also a good idea because it is short and practical, but it may not provide enough time for deep learning. From my perspective, taking a course would be the best option. The main reason is that a course usually offers a clear learning structure, professional guidance, and regular practice, which are extremely important when developing a new skill. In addition, it allows me to track my progress over time and apply what I learn directly to my work. Overall, I strongly believe that taking a course is the most effective and reliable choice for long-term professional development. In this situation, my colleague is leaving the company, and my team wants to prepare a meaningful farewell gift. The three options are a painting, a farewell meal at a restaurant, and a souvenir gift. A painting of us and our colleague could be very personal and memorable, but it may take time to prepare and may not suit everyone's taste. A souvenir gift is also a safe choice because it can be kept for a long time, but it may feel a little formal or predictable. From my perspective, a farewell meal would be the best option. The main reason is that it gives everyone a chance to spend quality time together, share memories, and express appreciation in a warm and natural way. Besides, a meal can create a positive final memory before the colleague moves on to a new stage in life. Overall, I believe a farewell meal is the most meaningful choice because it focuses on connection rather than just the gift itself. In this situation, young professionals need to choose an important skill to succeed in their careers, and the options are time management, teamwork, and public speaking. Teamwork is certainly important because most jobs require people to cooperate with colleagues and solve problems together. Public speaking is also beneficial, especially for people who need to give presentations or communicate ideas confidently. However, these skills may not be used every single day in every job. From my perspective, time management is the most essential skill for young professionals. The main reason is that if they cannot manage their time effectively, they may miss deadlines, feel stressed, and perform poorly at work. In addition, good time management helps them balance work, study, and personal life, which is extremely important in the long run. Overall, I believe time management should be the top priority because it forms the foundation for productivity and career success. In this situation, my teacher is organizing an end-of-year party for the class, and the options include a music and fashion show or a cooking event. A cooking event can be enjoyable because students can work together and share food, which may create a friendly atmosphere. However, it requires a lot of preparation, and not everyone may be interested in cooking. It can also be messy and time-consuming. From my perspective, a music and fashion show would be the better choice. The main reason is that it gives students a chance to express themselves creatively through singing, dancing, and choosing outfits. In addition, this type of event is usually more entertaining and suitable for a large group because everyone can either perform or enjoy watching their classmates. Overall, I believe a music and fashion show is the most exciting option because it can make the end-of-year party more energetic and memorable.
In this situation, my niece is 10 years old and has a half-day break, and I want to take her somewhere fun and educational. The options are going to the park, visiting a science center, or having a picnic on the beach. Going to a park is a simple and healthy choice because she can enjoy fresh air and physical activities. A beach picnic can also be relaxing and enjoyable, but it may depend heavily on the weather and may not be very educational. From my perspective, visiting a science center would be the best option. The main reason is that it combines entertainment with learning, which is perfect for a child at that age. He can explore science through experiments, interactive displays, and real-life demonstrations, which may help him become more curious about the world. Overall, I believe a science center is the most suitable choice because it is both enjoyable and intellectually stimulating. In this situation, I want to buy a gift for my mother, and the three options are a book, a handbag, and cosmetics. A book can be a meaningful gift if my mother enjoys reading, but it may not be suitable if she is busy or not interested in that topic. Cosmetics are also a practical option, but choosing the right product can be difficult because different people have different skin types and preferences. From my perspective, a handbag would be the best option. The main reason is that it is both practical and stylish, so my mother can use it when she goes to work, meets friends, or attends special occasions. In addition, a good quality handbag can last for a long time, which makes it a meaningful and useful gift. Overall, I believe a handbag is the most suitable gift because it is elegant, practical, and easier to choose than cosmetics. In this situation, I need to choose an important holiday to celebrate and explain why it is significant. The three options are Lunar New Year, Christmas, and National Day. Christmas is popular in many countries, and it can be a joyful occasion for people to decorate their homes and exchange gifts. National Day is also meaningful because it reminds people of the country's history and national identity. However, for Vietnamese people, these holidays may not be as personally important as Lunar New Year. From my perspective, Lunar New Year is the most significant holiday. The main reason is that it is a special time for family reunion when people return home, visit relatives, and show respect to their ancestors. In addition, it represents a fresh start, as people often clean their houses, prepare traditional food, and wish each other health, luck, and success. Overall, I believe Lunar New Year is the most important holiday because it carries deep cultural, emotional, and family values. In this situation, my family is planning a vacation and we are considering three options: a mountain trip, a beach vacation, or a trip to a big city. A mountain trip can be refreshing because the air is cool and the scenery is peaceful. However, it may not be suitable for everyone, especially older family members, because traveling in the mountains can be tiring. A trip to a big city is also interesting because there are many places to visit, but it may be crowded, noisy, and quite expensive. From my perspective, a beach vacation would be the best option. The main reason is that it allows all family members to relax, enjoy fresh air, and spend quality time together. In addition, beach activities are quite flexible because some people can swim, some can take photos, and others can simply sit by the sea and unwind. Overall, I believe a beach vacation is the most suitable choice because it is relaxing, enjoyable, and appropriate for different age groups in the family. In this situation, my colleague is leaving the company, and my team wants to prepare a meaningful farewell gift. The three options are a handmade gift, a painting, and a farewell meal. A handmade gift can be very personal because it shows effort and sincerity. However, it may take a lot of time to prepare, and the final result may not look professional. A painting is also memorable, but it may not match the colleague's personal taste or home decoration style. From my perspective, a farewell meal would be the best option. The main reason is that it gives everyone a chance to gather, talk, and share good memories before the colleague leaves. In addition, a meal creates a warm and In this situation, my family is planning to move to a new house, and the three options are a house in the city centre, a house in the suburbs, and a house in the countryside. A house in the city centre is convenient because it provides easy access to workplaces, schools, hospitals, and shopping centres. However, the cost of living is usually high, and the environment can be noisy and crowded. A house in the countryside may offer peaceful surroundings, but the daily commute could be inconvenient. From my perspective, a house in the suburbs would be the best. The main reason is that it offers a good balance between urban convenience and a peaceful lifestyle. My family could still access important amenities without dealing with too much noise or pollution. In addition, suburban property can be a good long-term investment because property value may increase over time. Overall, I believe living in the suburbs would improve my family's quality of life. In this situation, my cousin has just graduated from university and is looking for a job. The three options are a job that is interesting, a job that offers a high salary, and a job that matches his field of study. An interesting job can increase intrinsic motivation because people are more likely to enjoy what they do. A high-paying job is also attractive, especially for a fresh graduate who wants to become financially independent. However, salary alone may not guarantee long-term job satisfaction. From my perspective, a job that matches his field of study would be the best. The main reason is that it helps him build a strong career foundation and gain relevant experience. It also allows him to develop industry-specific skills, which are important for long-term employability. Even if the starting salary is not very high, professional alignment can create better opportunities in the future. Overall, I believe this is the most strategic choice for his professional growth. In this situation, my friend has some free time and wants to do something productive. The three options are painting, gardening, and knitting. Painting is a good creative outlet because it allows people to express their emotions through colors and images. Knitting can also be a mindful practice because it requires patience and concentration. However, both activities may not be suitable for everyone, especially if the person does not enjoy sitting still for a long time. From my perspective, gardening would be the best. The main reason is that it is both therapeutic and practical. It allows my friend to spend time outdoors, reduce stress, and develop a sense of responsibility by taking care of plants. In addition, seeing flowers or vegetables grow can create a strong sense of accomplishment. Overall, I believe gardening is the most rewarding option because it improves both mental well-being and daily life. In this situation, my friend is looking for a job and wants to choose the best working environment. The three options are a job with a high salary, a job with a friendly working environment, and a job with flexible working hours. A high salary is attractive because it helps people cover their living expenses and become more financially secure. Flexible working hours are also beneficial because they allow employees to manage their personal life more easily. However, these benefits may not be enough if the workplace culture is toxic. From my perspective, a friendly working environment would be the best. The main reason is that a supportive workplace can improve employee well-being and reduce burnout. When colleagues are helpful and respectful, people are more likely to stay motivated and perform better. In addition, workplace harmony can lead to stronger teamwork and long-term job satisfaction. Overall, I believe a friendly working environment is essential for a sustainable career. In this situation, my younger sibling is about to start university and is considering what to buy. The three options are a mobile phone, a laptop, and a motorbike. A mobile phone is useful for communication, but most students already have one, so buying a new phone may not be urgent. A motorbike can help with commuting, but it is expensive and may involve safety concerns, especially for a new university student. From my perspective, a laptop would be the best. The main reason is that it is an academic necessity for university life. My sibling will need it for online learning platforms, assignment completion, research purposes, and presentations. In addition, a laptop is a multifunctional productivity tool that can support both studying and part-time work. Even if the starting salary is not very high, professional alignment can create better opportunities in the future. Overall, I believe a laptop is the most cost-effective investment because it will become an essential learning companion throughout university. In this situation, my friend and I are planning to have dinner together, and the three restaurant options are Japanese, Chinese, and Thai. A Japanese restaurant is a great choice because it often uses fresh ingredients and offers a clean, balanced flavor profile. A Chinese restaurant is also suitable for sharing dishes, especially in a group. However, some Chinese dishes can be quite heavy or oily depending on the restaurant. From my perspective, I would choose a Thai restaurant. The main reason is that Thai cuisine has a very distinctive flavor with a good balance of spicy, sour, sweet, and salty tastes. It would be a refreshing change from our usual meals. In addition, Thai restaurants usually offer many dishes that can suit different tastes, such as tom yum soup, pad thai, and green curry. Overall, I believe a Thai restaurant would provide the most enjoyable and memorable dining experience. In this situation, there are several possible options that we can take into consideration. To begin with, a water park seems to be quite exciting, mainly because it offers many fun activities on a hot day. However, one potential drawback is that it can be crowded, noisy, and relatively expensive. Another possible option is a museum, which is also worth considering since it is educational and intellectually stimulating. That being said, it might not be the best solution because it is not really an outdoor place. From my perspective, I would opt for a park, as I believe it is the most suitable choice in this situation. The main reason is that it provides a relaxing outdoor environment, and at the same time, it can also allow everyone to walk, talk, take photos, and enjoy fresh air. Overall, I strongly believe this is the most practical and budget-friendly option available. In this situation, there are several possible options that we can take into consideration. To begin with, going to a fast food restaurant seems to be quite convenient, mainly because it saves time and requires no preparation. However, one potential drawback is that it may feel too casual and unhealthy. Another possible option is dining at a three-course restaurant, which is also worth considering since it provides a high-quality dining experience. That being said, it might not be the best solution because it can be pricey and too formal. From my perspective, I would opt for cooking a meal at home, as I believe it is the most suitable choice in this situation. The main reason is that it creates a warm and personal atmosphere, and at the same time, it can also show care and make the visit feel more intimate. Overall, I strongly believe this is the most meaningful and cost-effective option available. In this situation, there are several possible options that we can take into consideration. To begin with, eating at home seems to be quite comfortable, mainly because it is affordable and private. However, one potential drawback is that it may not feel special enough for an important occasion. Another possible option is eating fast food, which is also worth considering since it is quick and convenient. However, this might not be the best solution because it is too casual for a special meal. From my perspective, I would opt for eating at a restaurant, as I believe it is the most suitable choice in this situation. The main reason is that a restaurant provides a pleasant atmosphere and better service, and at the same time, it can also make the meal more celebratory and memorable for everyone. Overall, I strongly believe this is the most suitable option for a special occasion. In this situation, there are several possible options that we can take into consideration. To begin with, restricting the driving age seems to be quite reasonable, mainly because it may reduce accidents among very young drivers. However, one potential drawback is that it does not address careless behavior among adult drivers. Another possible option is improving road infrastructure, which is also worth considering since better roads and traffic lights can make transport safer. That being said, it might not be the best solution in the short term because it requires a large budget and a long implementation period. From my perspective, I would opt for raising public awareness, as I believe it is the most suitable choice in this situation. The main reason is that
In this situation, there are several possible options that we can take into consideration. To begin with, smoking in schools seems to be quite serious, mainly because it damages students' health and may encourage bad habits. However, one potential drawback is that it mainly affects a specific environment rather than the whole society immediately. Another possible option is littering on the streets, which is also worth considering since it causes pollution and makes public places unattractive. That being said, it might not be the most urgent issue because it does not usually create immediate danger to human life. From my perspective, I will opt for using mobile phones while driving, as I believe it is the most serious concern in this situation. The main reason is that it distracts drivers and increases the risk of traffic accidents, and at the same time, it can also endanger passengers, pedestrians, and other road users. Overall, I strongly believe that this is the most urgent issue that should be addressed. In this situation, there are several possible options that we can take into consideration. To begin with, doing voluntary work seems to be quite meaningful, mainly because it allows my friend to contribute to society and gain life experience. However, one potential drawback is that it may not provide stable income. Another possible option is continuing studying, which is also worth considering since higher education can improve academic knowledge and career prospects. That being said, it might not be the best solution if my friend is not sure about his long-term direction yet. From my perspective, I would opt for looking for a job, as I believe it is the most suitable choice in this situation. The main reason is that it allows him to gain real workplace experience and become financially independent, and at the same time, it can also help him understand what skills he needs to develop further. Overall, I strongly believe that this is the most practical first step after graduation. In this situation, there are several possible options that we can take into consideration. To begin with, time management seems to be quite practical, mainly because graduates need to handle deadlines and responsibilities effectively. However, one potential drawback is that this skill can often be improved through personal discipline and daily practice. Another possible option is teamwork, which is also worth considering since most workplaces require cooperation. That being said, it might not be the best solution because teamwork can usually be developed naturally through group projects or work experience. From my perspective, I would opt for public speaking as I believe it is the most suitable choice in this situation. The main reason is that it helps graduates express ideas clearly and confidently, and at the same time, it can also improve interview performance, presentations, and professional communication. Overall, I strongly believe that this is the most valuable course for career readiness. In this situation, there are several possible options that we can take into consideration. To begin with, an open garden seems to be quite refreshing, mainly because it creates an open and relaxing atmosphere. However, one potential drawback is that it depends heavily on the weather, which could make the plan less reliable.
Another possible option is a local community centre, which is also worth considering since it may provide enough space for a group of friends. That being said, it might not be the best solution because we may need to book the place in advance and follow certain rules. From my perspective, I would opt for watching the movie in my living room, as I believe it is the most suitable choice in this situation. The main reason is that it provides a cozy and private atmosphere, and at the same time, it can also help everyone feel comfortable, talk freely, and enjoy snacks without worrying about other people. Overall, I strongly believe that this is the most convenient and enjoyable option available. Suggested choice: organize a game party. In this situation, there are several possible options that we can take into consideration. To begin with, having a meal with family and friends seems to be quite warm and traditional, mainly because it allows everyone to gather and celebrate together. However, one potential drawback is that it may feel too common for a child's birthday. Another possible option is going on a short trip, which is also worth considering since it can create special memories. That being said, it might not be the best solution because it requires more time, planning, and money. From my perspective, I would opt for organizing a game party, as I believe it is the most suitable choice in this situation. The main reason is that children usually enjoy active and playful activities, and at the same time, it can also help them interact with friends and feel excited on their special day. Overall, I strongly believe that this is the most fun and age-appropriate option available. In this situation, there are several possible options that we can take into consideration. To begin with, listening to music seems to be quite relaxing, mainly because it can improve mood and reduce stress quickly. However, one potential drawback is that it may not help the body become more active. Another possible option is watching a movie, which is also worth considering since it can provide entertainment and distraction. That being said, it might not be the best solution because sitting for a long time may make me feel even more tired. From my perspective, I would opt for going for a walk in nature, as I believe it is the most suitable choice in this situation. The main reason is that it allows me to enjoy fresh air, move my body gently, and clear my mind, and at the same time, it can also help me recharge my energy after a stressful period. Overall, I strongly believe that this is the healthiest and most refreshing way to relax.